So when we're talking about visas and status, and now let's start to kind of break it down. There's multiple ways to break it down, right?
There are.
Employment visas, family related visas, so many different ways. But let's start with immigrant visas
Sure.
and non-immigrant visas. Can we
Right.
start there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's take a couple minutes on that. So an immigrant visa is a visa that's issued by the U.S. consulate, and also keep in mind, all U.S. consulates are outside of the U.S. There's no U.S. consulates here, so there is no way for someone to get a visa to the U.S. while in the U.S. I'm having to explain that to people all the time. I'm here as a tourist. Can I get a student visa? I could maybe change your status to student, but I couldn't get you a visa, right?
You have to go out of the country.
You got to go out because all U.S. consulates, which is the only place to get a visa currently to the U.S., you have to leave the country and go to the U.S. consulate to get one, right?
Okay.
So an immigrant visa is basically for lack of a better term, a permanent visa. Its validity period is generally 6 months, but when a person enters the U.S. on an immigrant visa, if within that 6-month validity period, they become permanent residents. People think of permanent residence as a green card, right? Colloquially, we talk about it as a green card. And that's a fine word to use or phrase to use. But really, it's an immigrant visa that a person has obtained from outside the U.S. They come to the inspection, present it to the officer. When they come into the country, they are granted permanent residence off of the immigrant visa. So it is permanent residence or a green card visa, for lack of a better term. So basically, think of it as a green card visa. It's the visa that you get, whether it's through family sponsorship, employment sponsorship, investment, whatever the path to get it. When you come into the country, you become a permanent resident through that immigrant visa.
Okay. Well, is there a path for someone on a non-immigrant visa to ever get a green card?
Yeah, there are lots of different ways, actually. It's numerous, but to just make it clear on what the non-immigrant visa is, a non-immigrant visa is the opposite of that, right? So it's a visa that someone uses to come into the country for a temporary purpose. So whether that's a work visa, a student visa, a visit visa, those kinds of things are all non-immigrant visas, meaning that they're not ones that generate on their own permanent legal status. The immigrant visa is permanent legal status. The non-immigrant visa is temporary.